A lot of times, your attitude is exactly what you get out of life. If your vibe is and your attitude is different from what you want, you will never get what you desire in life. If your vibe is different than your overall attitude, this is why it's going to be 10 times harder for you to get what you desire out of life. So, I have to make this video because so much more than what it's seen on social media, where it's just like, oh, your vibe, encompassing everything from your attitude, the way that you see life, and the way that you also attract opportunities as a feminine energy, or whoever's watching, masculine, feminine, as a human being, as how we attract things to ourselves is super important to realize how important vibration plays a part in that. And honestly, having the right voice can make or break your career in a sense. Whereas, though, if you have the right energy, you have the right attitude and vibration when you're coming into the room can definitely feel that, pick it up, and feedback a lot of those beliefs, vibrations, and this overall vibe that you're getting from that. And so, the main thing I wanted to touch on in this video, it's going to be probably a kind of shorter video, but I wanted to touch on the idea that vibration actually can impact our growth as professionals and as entrepreneurs, and how you can cultivate your vibe to attract what it is that you desire as a business person, as a person who's working in corporate possibly, or even as a person who's just chilling and wanting to possibly do something later on down the line. Whatever stage you are at, understanding that your overall vibration and what it is that you bring, not only to a company, to a relationship, to so many things, it all boils down to your attitude and your vibe. And this really touches in on a bunch of points, but I really wanted to go into how people who are able to adapt their vibes and to be flexible mentally, and also probably with your schedule as well, how people who are more mentally flexible wind up having longer lifespans, they wind up having higher rates of success in the things that they do, and they are actually successful people because they're able to adapt to their environment, adapt to whatever instance is needed. And just the overall idea of being able to capture your vibe and also to change it when it needs to change. And as a person who's also has a background in sales, the main thing that we really touch on when you're learning to be a sales associate is really focusing on attitude, and how attitude does impact the amount of performance that you do in that role and even in that industry. And that really trickles down to so many things that are adjacent to sales and being able to provide a service or something. With the attitude that you come into things with, a lot of that boils down to what are the beliefs that are there and what is the program that is overall running in terms of the belief system. And a lot of that really boils down to the programming that we receive when we're in childhood. It comes from the programming that we receive from our environments, from our peers, from the people who are just around us on every day, whether we have interaction with them for a second, a moment, or not at all, because social media does exist and you can interact with people and not really realize. With that, it's the overall frequency that we are aligned to, which is kind of like a, I guess they call it a baseline, which is like ground, where you're grounded, grounding point of your overall vibration is. There's people who vibrate really highly, and there's also people who vibrate at a different vibration. And being able to adjust your attitude and being able to be flexible, and when you are finding yourself in a attitude or in a vibration that you are not aligned with necessarily, and being able to align and to catch yourself. I'll give you guys an example. There is someone, let's say that there's two people who are wanting the same role at the office. The person who is more likely to get it is, yes, the person who's more likable, but it's a person who's able to have more of an impact in an organization, not necessarily from a monetarily side. It doesn't even have to come from anything else besides their own confidence level, vibration, and what it is that they seem and appear to be bringing to a situation. And That's what I mean by the overall attitude. There are so many instances where you hear of people being passed over for a job, being passed over for a promotion, and it's given to a person who has like won the likability contest. And when you really think about it, whether it is working in anything on anything, the vibration does have a huge impact in overall performance, productivity levels, and even the drive to get the project completed or to start the business, finish whatever it is. The vibes that you come into things are super important. And that's why I would say that the skill is not necessarily the most important thing, because imposter syndrome does exist. And because some people who are very skilled sometimes are not able to necessarily describe things, necessarily to go into detail about things. And when you're unable to really dive into things, you can sometimes be passed over. But with your vibe, if your vibe is great and your vibe is able to not necessarily be extroverted or to be super outgoing, but to understanding you have to have certain mindset in certain positions. So if you're wanting to go for the position, 9 times out of 10, if you're telling yourself, oh, I mean, I get it, and you go into the position and then boom, you wind up getting passed over. And that really trickles down to a lot of things, whether you can accept it or not, it's there. And having the right attitude also is able to actually unlock a bunch of opportunities, because if you are able to see past whatever your baseline or ground level is of the programming and the life experience that you have, and you're able to either be able to adapt to that or be able to see past it, you're able to really tap into what it is that you want a lot easier when your baseline matches that of what it is that you're wanting to attract. But if it doesn't match it, you'll have a harder time, or you'll come into a different vibration of having to shift into a different vibration than what you would it is that you're used to. So I'll give you guys an example. If someone is part of, let's say someone comes into some money and they come into a bunch of money, but they've always grown up, let's say in Florida somewhere, and they haven't been able to be around money. They don't know anyone with money. They've never experienced it. And let's say they've also had assistance in the past, and that's all that they've known. Versus if someone wins the lottery and they're from a wealthy background, they travel to major cities, done the work, and have all of this experience, who's able to hold on to money longer or easier. It's not necessarily either or, but it's the one who is able to stay in the vibration of receiving, of being able to enjoy what it is that they are accepting into their own energy. And I don't hope this video isn't really going too highly in terms of things. We talk about really spiritual entrepreneurship as well as creative entrepreneurship on this channel. And this video is really just talking mainly on the mindset side of things, as well as the spiritual side of things, of what it's like to be and to create something. And honestly, overall, the main vibration is what you tell yourself matters. And the vibration that you go into rooms with, and to the outside world with, or even just how you wake up in the morning, all of these things play a role in the overall outcome of whatever it is that you are trying to do, attract, hold, whatever, I don't know, whatever it is, they all play a part in that. And so if you're able to see beyond the vibration that you've been accustomed to and take an outside look from the outside looking in without any judgment, of course, that is one of the most strongest positions that you can be in as a person who's wanting to change or wanting to make a change in their life. And I hope that this video resonates with some of you guys who are watching. I'm trying to be more consistent with posting also on YouTube and really showing my face on here. And so I hope this video reaches the right people. And comment what it is that have you noticed a difference in how you go into different situations and the outcome of that situation. Have you ever noticed a difference in outcome of situations that you go in with a positive mindset versus a negative mindset? And then that also leads me back to the whole theory of, or it's not even a theory, it's actually proven now, of what it is that if you have a plant, let's say, and you speak super negatively to the plant will start to wilt and die off and whatnot. The same thing kind of applies, and it's the exact same principle. The exact same thing is for humans and for most living things. It's this exact same thing. Guys, hope you guys took something from the video. I'm gonna end it here, and just understanding your vibration and all of those things that you've worked on and worked towards. If you're watching, you're into self-development, you're into mindset, you're into all of these things, and all of those things are super important, especially right now in the world. And so I applaud you wherever you guys are at on your journeys, and I want to hear more from this community. So leave your comments, and thanks for watching. Bye. If you've ever been an entrepreneur and you've done a business for the first time, what's the one thing that you need to be? I'm going to put a multiple choice question. Answer A: should you be vibe coding nonstop? Should you be doing all of this extra stuff? Or should you be locked in? All of those things are great for starting a business, but do they really mean anything in terms of overall success? I would say no. As someone who has been boots on the ground into entrepreneurship since I've been for almost 10 years now, which is crazy because I'm not that old. But I've been an entrepreneur for going on a third of my life, possibly even more. I don't know if a lemonade stand counts. Anyways, this is a video about me looking to brand my business and to reset what it means to and reset my work ethic. As a person who is an entrepreneur, I've dealt with things like not having systems in place, then that leads to burnout, and it's a whole nother cycle. And this video is really going into me trying to save my herbal tea business, High Noon House. And I want to focus on the branding aspects as well as getting more sales within the next 30 days. And this video is the start of that. I'm super excited to be on this journey. This video is something I wanted to make for a long time, and I'm excited to see the outcome. And let's get into it. And the biggest hurdle for me on this journey has not been getting people to help. It's not been all of these things that you would think of. It has been mindset. And it's also been this journey of understanding that, hey, you don't have to just do one thing for the rest of your life. But the main thing that I will say above all is that it's so important to commit yourself to whatever it is that you're doing. And this is what I've learned so far.